Hi, everyone. Welcome in. I'm so happy that you're here. This is the very first episode of the Elara podcast. My name is Kelsey. I'm going to be your host. I've been with Elara now as an affiliate for a little over 7 months, but I'm not new to the affiliate space or telehealth. If you're listening, then that means at some point you've been interested in telehealth, what telehealth offers, GLP-1 medication, your overall health and well-being. Maybe you feel like with your doctor, you weren't getting answers, you weren't being heard, seen, or valued. Maybe you've tried everything under the sun and nothing's worked for you. Or maybe you're just curious as to what better healthcare could look like for you. Wherever you're coming from mentally, I hope that you find some sort of comfort in this podcast and that you feel all of the things seen, heard, valued. Most importantly, our goal is to make you feel supported. One of the reasons that I myself joined with Elara is because their mission aligns with my values and what I'm looking for in healthcare. It's things that I deeply care about. That's helping women feel informed, empowered, heard, valued, and most importantly, feeling in control of their health. So this is the first episode of many to come. We're going to be talking about all things health, whether that be weight loss, GLP-1 medication, mental health, emotional health, hormones, confidence, metabolic health, learning, building, creating new habits, whatever that may be. We're going to be talking about it all. And it's not always going to be just me. We will have co-hosts on here from time to time as well. Co-hosts may be other affiliates within Elara. It may be medical professionals. It could be fitness trainers, dietitians, could be business professionals. It could be you. But today, for this episode, I want to start with something that is much bigger than just weight loss, something that is bigger than medication or any treatment plan. I want to start with something that has really affected me deeply, and that's been why healthcare has let women down. So I want to ask you something, just picking at your brain. Have you ever left a doctor's appointment and you felt like maybe that appointment was rushed? You couldn't really get all of your thoughts out, or maybe you were too nervous to articulate yourself because you already knew that in this appointment, maybe you weren't going to be heard, or maybe you felt like you already knew that you were going to be rushed. I know my personal experience, I've had to change my primary care provider before because I just knew I was going to have like 5 minutes max with him, and I would have to just word vomit everything out as quickly as I could. And you just leave there feeling very defeated, right? Have you ever felt something like that where you just felt very defeated? You pay a copay, you go in for help, but you weren't even helped. Most times our symptoms get brushed off and pinpointed onto something else. I don't know about you, but for me, most times my symptoms were pinpointed to, oh, you need to lose weight. Okay, so help me lose the weight then. And I was never helped. I was never helped. I was just told to eat less and exercise more. Sometimes my labs would come back normal. And so anything that I went in there for that was the reason I needed those labs were just dismissed. My labs came back normal, never heard from my doctor again. I know there was one time, I think I waited about 6 months to see my endocrinologist. And within those 6 months, I know I was so excited I couldn't wait, because I felt like with this endocrinologist, I was finally going to get answers about, do I have PCOS? Well, what is now PMOS, formerly PCOS. Was I finally going to get answers about this? Like, I knew I had it. I just could not get my PCP to diagnose it. So I couldn't wait. But when I was there with my endocrinologist, yes, I got the diagnosis finally for PCOS. When I was there, I just felt very rushed. I felt like anything that I could have possibly brought up would have inconvenienced the doctor. And I'm literally their paycheck, right? They are getting paid because I'm there. How could I be an inconvenience to them? But so many times we feel that way. So I guess I'm asking you these questions if any of that has happened to you, because I want you to know that if you're experiencing things like this in the healthcare field, you're not alone. Many other women are also experiencing this. So this is where I want to kind of put a little bug in your ear and maybe look into other options. So if there's so many women out there that feel the way that I do, the way I've just described to you, then what would we say healthcare should look like for us as women? What should we experience when we're going to seek out help? We should be able to meet with a provider from our home on our schedule, within our hours, on our terms. Most times as women, we're the ones running the household. We have children, we have school, we have extracurricular activities, we have sports, we have to clean, we have dishes, dinner, we have to give our kids baths and get them in the bed. We are busy, right? Telehealth can give us a little bit of peace of mind knowing that we can do this, take care of ourselves, take care of our health on our terms from the comfort of our own home. You get personalized care with licensed providers. You can chat with your doctor at any time. You don't have to sit down and do a face-to-face call with the doctor, which for me, I think that's very important because with previous telehealth companies that I was with, you had to schedule like a Zoom call situation, and I didn't necessarily like that. So being able to just sit down and chat in like instant messaging form is very nice to me. You get to see your doctor's credentials and all the things within the chat portal, and it's super nice. You get ongoing support throughout your treatment. So I'm also the type, now I've been on my journey, my weight loss journey for a little over a year now, but you know, I kind of have a gear on how things go. So I'm at a point where I don't necessarily have a lot of questions to ask the doctor. I don't check in with my doctor. But these doctors, if they don't hear from you over a certain amount of time, they reach out to you and they ask, how's your plan going? How's your treatment going? Are you feeling like you need to increase your medicine? Do you need to decrease your medicine? Are you good where you're at? Like they ask you these questions. It's not just handing you your medication and sending you on your way. It's follow-up. Something else is super important too is transparent pricing. I don't like anything that's going to have, you know, you got a membership fee, right? On top of that, on top of your medication, we've got membership fees. On top of that, we're going to charge you for shipping. I don't like all of that, you know, read the fine print. I don't do that. Elara, we understand that and we're very transparent and upfront with what our costs are in order to receive care. At no point are we ever going to hide something from you and say, surprise, you're actually going to be charged an extra $100 today. No, if we tell you at your starting dose it's going to be $329, 10 milligrams, it's going to be $329. Your price is never going to change. Something else too, so I do have health insurance that does cover GLP-1 medication. Now, it's a whole nother topic we can have for another day. I do prefer my compound over my name brand. So I am on compound tirzepatide. I get mine from Elara. I get mine compounded with glycine. Part of why I prefer my compound. Again, conversation for another day. However, when I was getting my prescription from the pharmacy, something that was so frustrating is having to go sit in that CVS drive-through line for God knows how long. If I could see a car as I'm coming around the corner, if I could see a car right over there to the left, oh my gosh, I just wanted to leave. It takes them forever to fill prescriptions. So I'd be sitting there probably for a good 30, 45 minutes. With Elara, I don't have to worry about that because the medication is shipped straight to my door. Not only does it come with the medication, but it comes with all of the supplies, everything that I need. So I'm also not having to get on the Zon and go and order my syringes, order my prep pads, none of that. It all comes with the medication. It also comes with very thorough directions on how to store it, how to inject it. There's YouTube videos as well, because I know some people do better with visuals. So we have YouTube videos as well. Something that I think is so important about Elara is that they listen to you. So I've noticed in my time in this community that a lot of people will tell them that their doctor says, oh, okay, well, your weight loss is slowing down a little, so we're going to increase your dose. We think we should increase your dose, but you've only been on that dose for 4 weeks. And you're like, wait, well, I am losing, like I am, maybe not like 5 pounds a week, but like I am losing. And, I'm having side effects and I really think that I want to stay on the dose that I'm at. And your doctor's like, no, we're going to go ahead and move you up. What? It's crazy, right? With Elara, the doctors listen to you. They take your thoughts, your feelings, your side effects, your experience into consideration, and they don't force you into anything. Now, I'm not going to say they're not going to give you a little nudge and say, maybe, within the next 4 weeks, we need to consider. But they do listen to you. It's very patient led, which I think is so important because, again, it goes back to the way that we're treated. We're not heard, seen, or valued. We're just not. And I'm not saying that that's across the board, right? For every single doctor. There are great doctors out there, but in the majority experience, that seems to be the consensus. I also noticed that on weight loss journeys, a lot of times people are just kind of thrown to the wolves to fend for themselves. We're not really told, hey, this is going to be a potential side effect for you, and this is how you can combat that. We're just told what the potential side effects are, right? And then we're left to deal with it. We're left to figure out what's going on. When I started this journey, I had no support. I wasn't on TikTok. I wasn't on social media looking up GLP-1s or nothing like that. I had to figure everything out. Everything that I know now is because I had to figure this out on my own. I had to crawl through the trenches of GLP-1 to figure out how to fix the problems that I was having. And that's because at the time, my care for GLP-1 was under my PCP. I also didn't like that with my PCP having to go and step on the scale and feeling sort of shame, I guess, or maybe embarrassment because when I went to step on the scale, I wanted to take my phone out of my pocket, my keys out of my pocket. I didn't want any extra weight on me. In fact, if I could have taken my shoes off, I would have taken my shoes off as well. At home, I step on my scale with no clothes on, but obviously you can't do that at your doctor's office. So there does come a little bit of embarrassment or shame around the weigh-ins with your PCP. With Elara, you don't have to do that. You don't have to feel that shame. If you want to log your weight and step on that scale that you have in your bathroom at home with no clothes on, you do that, girl. You don't have to stress by going and logging anything in any doctor's office or anything like that. And again, when we're going back to the weigh-ins, that goes back to copays. For every single weigh-in that I would have to do, I think when I was on name brand, I want to say it was every 3 months, I think, that I was having to do weigh-ins for. You pay copays for that. My copay at the time was $40. With Elara, you don't pay anything to check in with your doctor if you need an increase in medication, if you need to decrease or stay where you're at. You are not charged anything other than the cost of your medication. Alongside losing the weight, there comes this struggle in confidence. When I started this journey, it was a little bit of, let me find the words. When I started this journey in the beginning, it felt strange because I saw the number coming down very quickly. I'm a hyper responder. So I saw the number on the scale coming down very quickly. And it was confusing because the number was coming down, but the clothes were still fitting the same, right? I would look in the mirror and I would still feel the same. For a while, it was this way. But how can that be when the number's coming down so quickly? Then that brings me to where I am now in my journey. And that is that I am down 75 pounds. And yet still there's days where I feel like I wouldn't say 70 pounds heavier, but I would say sometimes it feels like I might be 30, 40 pounds heavier, or I just have this disbelief of the fact that I don't wear 2X, 3X anymore. I wear large, extra large. Now, even when I was in high school and I was at my smallest, which was about 145 pounds, I'm 5'8", so 145 is a healthy range for me. I was still wearing like a large, extra large. But it's kind of like going through a little bit of an identity crisis, maybe. Like I feel like I don't belong in these sizes, you know? I feel like I'm still the person I was before. So there's this need to build confidence, but how do we build it when our mind isn't there? And so with Elara, you are getting a space to journal these thoughts down so that you can break it down piece by piece and you can navigate through these feelings and you can look back and you can say, okay, on June 28th, I felt very insecure, very upset about the way that I was looking, the way that I felt in this dress. But here it is 3 months down the road, and I'm wearing the dress with confidence. I'm feeling great. So I love that there is an ability to journal your thoughts, log and record everything more than just your shot that you took, log and record more than your weight. We're logging more. We're logging our mental, our emotional, our physical. We get to keep track of everything and then look back and say, hey, I did that. I've come very far. And that's so important on this journey. And again, I've lost 75 pounds, but the confidence isn't what you think it would be. You would think that losing 75 pounds, I'm almost at goal, that I would have this immense amount of confidence. I don't. It's a huge misconception. The people assume that, oh, she's almost at goal. Wait, she must feel good. She must. No. Now, if one of my haters asks, I'm confident, girl. When we're getting down to the actual core of things, no, I don't necessarily have this confidence or ability to look in a mirror and feel like this beautiful woman that looks amazing in her clothes and has this ability to just shine bright. We're not there yet. Okay. But that's a part of this journey. And we will get there one day. We will. We have to work at it, of course. But aside from the physicalities, aside from how we look, because confidence is about so much more than weight, so much more than how we look in our clothes, so much more than that number on the scale. Confidence comes when you keep promises to yourself. Confidence comes when every 7 days you do your jab and you know you're taking that next step forward. We're making baby step progress, right? We're getting better sleep. We have more energy. We're fitting in our clothes better. We're actually standing in the pictures with our kids and our husbands, our wives. We're actually showing up in memories, pictures, things we can look back on. We're actually in the memories now. I don't know about you guys, but if I go back in my camera roll and I look back at school events, now I'm going to get emotional. That's what this is about, right? Navigating our feelings. I can't look back at pictures of my older two children and see myself in the moments with them during some of the biggest parts of their lives. We have so much more to do. We have so much more to talk about. I look back and I'm not in the memories of some of the biggest moments of their lives. I have hundreds of pictures of my children, but I'm not in them. And it's a huge regret. So, if I could give you a piece of advice, no matter what part of your journey that you're in, just get in the pictures. But another way that we can build confidence, no matter if we're in the beginning of our journey, when we're hiding from the camera and, doing all the things that were old habits, what we can do is we can start building new habits. New habits are going to be nutrition, finding things that make us feel good when we eat it. New habits are going to be finding ways to get in our water. Hydration is so important. I cannot stress it enough how important it is. Hydration is going to be the thing that's going to help you with headaches, fatigue, your energy, all the things. And that's part of this GLP-1, right? It's not a cheat. It's not a way to be lazy to get where we want to go, right? This is a tool that's meant to help us build the new habits. We're essentially creating a new lifestyle for ourselves, and the GLP-1 is the bridge to that. So that's something that we can work on no matter what part of our journey that we're on. Even if we're in maintenance and we didn't know that, hey, maybe I should be making a little bit better of some nutritional choices, we can still do that. Even when we are in maintenance, we can. So I want you guys to remember why you started. What was your why? For me, I was so tired of looking in the mirror and just feeling upset at what was looking back at me. I was so tired of hating myself, hating the way that I looked, because I deserve to be loved. You deserve to be loved by yourself. You deserve to feel an immense amount of love, especially from yourself. So I want you to remember your why, and I want you to keep your promise to yourself. The promise being to keep going, to reach your goal, to get to where you're going. Something that I hear commonly in the community is, I'm just going to keep putting off going to the doctor, even though I know I should. So there's a couple of things that are going to tie in with that. Number one is, if you don't like your doctor, I encourage you to find you another one. I'm not saying it has to be a telehealth company or anything like that. If you need something for primary care, I would encourage you to find another primary care provider. You should never feel uncomfortable with your doctor. You should never not want to be seen by your doctor and put off your health and your well-being because you don't like your doctor. I highly encourage you to find another one. Number two, if it's for your health, if it's for your weight loss, I would encourage you to look into telehealth. See if that's something that is an option for you, because if you don't like going to your doctor, there are other options out there for you. Individualized personal medical care can be so beneficial and worth the investment into your health. Not only your physical, but your mental health. If it's draining you that bad, having to go to your doctor and do all the things, I really encourage you to check out telehealth. Something else that I've heard a lot, that is a common misconception, I would probably call a myth, is that if your labs come back normal, then everything must be fine. That couldn't be further from the truth. So women, anybody, men and women, but I'm partial to my girls, we deserve a thorough evaluation. Okay, so you've presented symptoms to your doctor. You've told your doctor you feel XYZ. Obviously, the doctor felt compelled to have labs done on you. So the labs come back normal. He's going to brush it off. He's going to tell you everything's fine. Everything's fine. Drink more water. Move your body. Go exercise. You deserve a thoughtful evaluation. So what the next step should be is, if those labs came back normal, your doctor needs to refer you to a specialist, someone that can identify something that he does not specialize in. If it's a heart problem, he needs to send you to cardiology. If it's something that has to do with your hormones, he needs to send you to endocrinology. If it's something to do with your eyes, you need to go to an eye doctor. If it's something to do with your nerves, your brain, something like that, you need to go to a neurologist. You deserve care. You deserve to have your concerns explored and evaluated. And truthfully, I feel like since I've been with Elara, I have had that support. I have felt heard when they were very confused because I was on the lowest dose of medication for a very long time, and they messaged me and they were like, hey, you looking to move up anytime soon? And I was like, no, thank you. They didn't just leave it at that. They were like, well, why? Why? And it's just, I feel like somebody actually cares. They're not just like, okay, cool, but next, they're not trying to rack up a copay or anything like that. They genuinely care about me as a person, me as a patient. And it just feels nice. It really does. So from that personalized, individualized care, not having to leave my house and go sit in that CVS line to pick up my medication, not having to pay copays, being able to have glycine in my medication as well, which helps with my insomnia and my anxiety. There's so much that I just feel like has been so much better since being with Elara. Again, it goes back to when I was with my PCP. I just feel like I had to figure everything out on my own. And with Elara, there's this huge community of women that are standing behind you. And it has been the biggest blessing in my journey, having these women that have uplifted me, have pushed me to do better and be better. They're encouraging, inspiring. They're people that you can look up to. They're people that you can connect with and share your journeys with. You can ask questions for these women if it's something maybe you just don't want to ask your doctor and it's not like a super important like doctor question, but it could be a friend question. You know, you can find friends within this community, and the Elara girls are just some of the best friends that I have made on this journey so far. And I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks, I'll be able to introduce to you guys my very best friend who has grown to be like a sister to me. She is an affiliate within the company of Elara. A lot of you may know her. I'm not going to give it away, but I'm hoping we'll have her on here soon as well. Now, for this week, what I want to challenge you with is I want you to journal. Hear me out, okay? Hear me out. I know a lot of us don't like writing, anything like that. Now type it in your phone. Open up that notepad, girl. Apple has a journal app. I'm sure Android has something similar, but Apple does have a journal app. If you don't want to use your journal app, use your notepad. You can lock it. You can put a passcode on it and you can lock it so nobody can see it. If you're with Elara, girly, we have a journaling section in the app. Use it. Here's your prompt, okay? I have it written down here, so I'm going to be looking at the prompt. If I truly felt heard by my healthcare team, what would that experience look like? That is going to give you the opportunity to explore what you actually expect. And is your doctor giving you that? Next, I want you to write down a question, 2 questions, something you've been wanting to ask your provider. Maybe you just haven't had the opportunity to yet, or maybe you felt too nervous to ask your provider. Write those down. I want you to ask your doctor the next time you see them, or research. See what you can find. See what you can dig up. You deserve to ask questions. You deserve to have answers to something that feels uncertain to you. You deserve to not feel lost and confused in this world of healthcare. You also deserve to understand that you have options. You are not stuck where you are. And you deserve to feel like a partner in your own healthcare. So we're going to wrap it up. We're going to leave it there for the first episode. I want to thank you so much if you've stuck it out to the end. I want to thank you for being here with me today. If you've enjoyed this conversation, do give us a follow. Make sure you're following along with the podcast so that you can tune into our next episode. And you don't want to miss that one, okay? Because we're going to be answering a lot of questions. One of the biggest questions, which is, what are GLP-1 medications and do they actually work? Until then, I want you to give yourself the grace that you would show somebody else. And I'm going to leave you there. I hope that you guys have a wonderful week. I'll see you next week during episode 2.